Man is in the building, of course. Jersey's finest, all about them bars, marijuana smoker. Hey, PSA announcement. I need everybody go support. That's right, support my fucking state, my city. Heritage Hip Hop, a New Jersey media source that celebrates New Jersey hip hop worldwide. Facts. And we are celebrating our legends right here, Jersey, baby. Please subscribe to Heritage Hip Hop on social media. That is Heritage Hip Hop on social media. Jersey, you know I love you. Jersey, you know we got bars and we got music and we got legends all day. And if you believe in Jersey and you love Jersey like I do, support that Heritage Hip Hop on all social media platforms. This is Redman and I approve this message.
Yo, salute to everybody out there listening tonight on Heritage Hip Hop. We're a little late than usual, but great things take time. And today I got a great MC for y'all to talk to. Before we get to the regular stuff, hit the like, subscribe, share. Pardon me. Heritage Hip Hop is a platform designed to introduce you to your future favorite artists today while celebrating hip hop culture from its foundation and from Jersey to around the world. And for us to continue to do that, I need your help. So please hit that Cash App and donate. You know, we want to make sure that we are here not only to give you the best, but to build this platform to be a legacy platform, just like Rap City, just like Your Own TV Raps, just like Raps, just like, Video Music Box, etc. And one way you salute and support the culture is by taking care of home. Now, everybody wants to go to New York. Everybody wants to go to LA. But what about the great talents that you have at home? See, it is my pleasure and my purpose to show the world that New Jersey has something to say. And even though a lot of people from New Jersey take their gift for granted, I don't take for granted the people who have good voices, good messages, and have great talent. And today's talent that I bring to you is a talent not only worthy of your attention, but I personally love hip hop where the artist has something to say, can paint a picture, and tell a story that's reflective of what you've seen, how you feel, and something you can look forward to as you mature, not only your ear, but you mature in your journey of life. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce you to Kice of Course.
Yeah. What's going on, man? First and foremost, thanks for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure because who the hell represents Jersey if we don't represent New Jersey?
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So let's get down to business because I got your project, You're Not the Brightest, from the Snow Goons posse.
Nice.
I was like, oh shoot, okay. And you know, Snow Goons is good for not only introducing hip hop, but for preserving and appreciating MCs that got bars and got a purpose.
Absolutely.
So let me ask you a question. How did you start rhyming, and did you write to have good bars, or did you write to have a purpose?
Well, it was a carnival across the street from my house. I was probably like 16. And at that carnival, they played instrumentals and it was a cipher. So I got in the cipher and I just started freestyling. And I'm really not even that great at like freestyling, but at the time, so I just did it. And then people were just like, yo, you should take it serious, la la la. So I started getting a pen and pad and putting the lyrics to it. But to answer your question, at first it was just starting out. I guess because I was just starting, I just wanted words to rhyme. I just wanted it to rhyme and make sense at that time. So it started out like that, and then it went more into I wanted something to say rather than just blurting out words. You know, once I got the rhyme pattern, just putting words together to rhyme, then I said I wanted to do something to make sense to change people's lives through it.
That's deep because you know what? In our teenage years, that's when most young men find their voices. You find you're getting ignored. You find that you're starting to get more people's attention. Maybe the girls like you, or you cool with some of the athletes or the street dudes when they hear you rhyme because you start to take it in. I mean, at 16 was crazy. As you start seeing that your words have power, how did you use your words to change your reality, being that you started to rhyme?
Manifesting and not quite knowing what exactly manifesting was. So I was just speaking things that I wanted and saw into existence. For example, my favorite car is a Porsche. So I would always make reference to a sports car like Porsche or all that. And ended up, as I got older, I actually own one. So I think that was some way, and I know that's kind of material, but still the same aspect of putting it in lyrics and kind of manifesting, writing it on paper. Because you hear a lot of people say write things on paper and then recite it, and if you believe it, it could come true. How powerful your mind is. So yeah, so that was one thing that I could say manifest. Friends, happiness, like just some of the things, trips, and hanging out with my friends and stuff. And most of the ones I talked about are still, knock on wood, living healthy. And so I think, writing like that and putting some of that stuff in your lyrics when you're young, you could, because we so busy trying to make it rhyme, right? Trying to make it go with the beat and try, but you don't realize, like, if you really believe what you say and there's truth to it, you mess around and make those things come true, and that's why the words off your tongue is powerful. So yeah,
That's facts. That's biblical excellence, and it's also what the books of the spirits talk about. Is about the power of the tongue. You can speak
mm,
life, and you can also
right,
speak death. One of my
absolutely,
favorite MCs said that his tongue pleases women and it kills demons. You know what I'm saying? Like, like what you say, and that one thing right there can alter your life, but it also reflects your life. You're from
absolutely.
Elizabeth, New Jersey.
Eastwick all day.
Shout out to Eastwick. And Elizabeth, New Jersey gets lost in a lot of hip hop conversation when it comes to New Jersey because New Jersey is seen as Jersey City, Newark,
Yep,
everywhere else. You know
yep,
what I'm saying? So
yeah.
tell me about the history of what you know about hip hop in Elizabeth as far as you remember it, you being in it, and how you represent it.
Man, I remember, like I said, man, just the things that I would hear, like Big Daddy Kane, Rakim, and all the greats, the things that I would see and hear them rap about on Video Music Box and on TV, I would always go outside my door in Elizabeth and see these things. So the truck jewelry that they talk about, the cars, the Volvos, the all that stuff was outside. Gucci suits, all that stuff. So that's how my hood made it a reality, and that actually helps you to paint that picture when you being creative. Because not only do I got like I mean, I know the way music is now, a lot of it is seeing your phone and social media, but I didn't come up in that era of like social media. I came up outside my door was social media. That was reality, not a phone. So that's one way to definitely my neighborhood help influence and help being from Elizabeth, see it because it was the visual. So I had the visual to to go along with it. I mean,
Well, I mean, when I think about Elizabeth, I think about the ciphers, like you said.
yeah,
I call it ciphercology, to study your words. Because when men get together to build, it forms a circle, and that's how knowledge is passed, right?
yes, sir.
But East Jersey Street is known for ciphers. Bayway Projects is known for some ciphers.
Ciphers.
You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? And
yeah.
and not only that, I mean, Elizabeth was grafted through a lot of hood stories and hood pain. Newark always fought within itself, and then Newark fought East Orange and Irvington.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
But I remember the Skate 22 world as well.
Skate
Elizabeth and
22.
Plainfield used to get
Oh
together,
yeah.
and that used to be. But it also was a cipher college down there too, as Route 20, Skate 22, when the
hmm
hoods got together. Were you part of those?
So in Skate 22, I really didn't do a cipher at Skate 22. Mine was more like downtown in the projects or Jackson Park when I first started. And then the projects late night Pioneer Homes, First Street, Second Street. Now I mean, because I'm from downtown. But you right, it was ciphers everywhere. I remember even like uptown, Bayway, or you go to the center that was uptown by Anna Street. And that night, we ride our bikes up there. I didn't go all the time, but the times I did go, it was ciphers because cats from uptown would come downtown. The center on First Street, it'd be a basketball little tournament at the end. Everybody outside, somebody bring out a radio and just start rhyming. Um, a lot of the ciphers that I recall was like in the project, like I said, in Pioneer Homes, Magloria Manor. They got this thing we call it the donut, where it's just a concrete circle with dirt in it, in the middle of the projects, and people just sit on it and start rapping. Piece the Shocker out, piece the Steady Rock. Cats I came up just rapping around and rapping with, you know. Shout out to Shorty Fresh. There's so many dope rappers like when I was coming up, you know, and I just was trying to find my way in that cipher.
That's why I love doing this show, because I like to open the lid and show people that Jersey's deeper than just 3 parts.
No doubt.
And New Jersey is not a place that has no identity, that is half New York, half Philly. We have a lot of things going on here. And I remember the dopest cipher, obviously, was for the Shoppers World. I ain't gonna lie to you,
Wow, Uptown Broad Street.
yeah, that right
Wow.
there. And I don't
I ain't
know
never see
who,
one up there.
I don't know who it was. I'm gonna tell you how long ago this was. I think I was like 10 to 12 years old. So that's
Wow.
years ago. We talk about 1990 something. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And I mean, that's back when you went to Elizabeth, you either like Spanish girls, you tried to get you a nice little coat for the winter, or you played ball. You know what I'm saying?
One or the other. Yep.
Right. And then to see hip hop there, for me, was mind blowing, because downtown North, you had the arcade. Every Tuesday and Thursday, watch for the sweep. You know what I'm saying? But people be out there rhyming.
Yep.
I want to ask you this. Who were the heroes in Elizabeth? And how did they inspire you?
As far as rap or just heroes in general, period.
I mean, talk about your story, whatever you want.
So man, I have so many, man, for different reasons. So like my mom is one. You know what I'm saying? Like coming up at a time where like so the men in the houses was always at work or just just not home. So for her to persevere through all of that and still raise me, I'm the youngest of 3, you know. So for her to persevere and go through all of that, that was always my hero. So and because I'm the youngest, I was always around her. So that's one for those reasons. And then you got the streets, right? So there was a lot of cats that was known for being wild and known for shooting people and known for the. But I'm just gonna be 1,000 with you. Like a lot of the people that I looked up to that was wild. It wasn't for wild because they just started with people. They actually was fighting the people that did the same thing they did. So at that age, at that time, at my age, I never looked at it like, oh, they like I said in my rhyme, if you bullied the bullies, then you got my respect. If you was acting tough, I hated your rep. So that's how I was. Like, you know, I just respected people that bully the bullies because they doing the same thing. So it was people like that. Then I have a large family. So like a lot of my family members, one of them was my cousin Sean, you know, rest in peace, Ski. I got kind of close to him right a little bit before he passed, but he had got shot, and that's how he became a quadriplegic in a wheelchair. So, you know, he was a fly dresser. I shouted him out of my song. So that was one of them. And one of the reasons was because with him being shot, with him being a quadriplegic, and then changing his whole life from the streets with drugs and just being a motivational speaker in colleges, that was a hero to me. And then still having that hood respect. So I looked up to that. Then I got my brother. You know, my brother, you know, he was thorough, you know, but he went to college. He made something of himself, studied aerospace engineering. So it was like I got all these different walks of life. So that was a hero because he had all of it in one. He ain't no sucker. You know, it's all coming up at that time. It was always like if you were educated and you were smart, you kind of soft. You know what I'm saying? That's the era I came up with. But he was never that. He was actually the opposite. He was tough, but then he was that too. So that was one of my heroes. I had, you know, a few of them. I had, you know, like one of my one of my aunts. That was another hero because she helped raise what, like maybe like 14 kids, you know, and through downtown Elizabeth. So for her to just persevere and still have the strength to be able to, and they're different ages. So like that was a hero. So yeah, those are just some little to start out with. Um, you know, yeah. So that's definitely, you know, definitely heroes in my hood. But we got plenty of them, plenty of them.
Yeah, that's fire. 'Cause I mean, I asked you that question because June is Black Music Month, and it's also men's mental health month. And what hip hop does is it gives us the opportunity to look at ourselves, examine our message, and see what we're giving the world at the same time. You feel
Absolutely.
me? And even with what you said the flyest dress was in the wheelchair. Like I remember that in your song. See how you were able to put experience, character, and a message together. The major impact of hip hop was telling the world we exist. It went from counterculture to the culture. As now you see yourself as part of the culture, what do you think people have wrong about Elizabeth or about hip hop from Elizabeth? How are you changing the narrative?
Um, Hip hop, probably wrong about just Jersey, period. Because one, like you started out by saying, it's always just New York, Jersey City, da da da. So coming from a smaller town, we got the same thing they had. Same thing Harlem had. We had kingpins, we had all of that. We had the same thing. So what I'm doing to change the narrative, rather than telling you a perspective of go shoot 'em up, shoot your ops, go kill your mother, rather than do all of that, I'm saying run your fears away. Rather than do all that, I'm saying never say goodbye to you, which is a song I did where like you get the weight of the world on you so much that you be ready to kill yourself. But then in the next verse, I'm telling you why you shouldn't. So that's what I'm doing to change the narrative. I got a song, the first song how the album start, Remembering Home. I got 8 songs to choose from. I chose to start out with that one because I want to go back and remember where I come from before I start this journey of promoting this album. So that's why I got to go back home, and that's why I had to go home to shoot it because that's where I got to go get my battery charged at in order to carry out the other things that I got to do. Voices in my head, which one the truth? Don't listen too hard. It could be an excuse. Some people did, but they still alive. Maybe you'll get it on your next high. So I'm just telling you in short and long form, trust your intuition, but don't overthink it. Give yourself the space for it to talk to you, and then you react and listen to it. Because you listen too hard, it might be an excuse. So that's what I'm doing, and that's why I always stand on changing lives through my music. And most importantly, what I always do is something called proofread. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't just don't get me wrong, it's nice and cute to be able to go in a booth and just spit off the top of your head and rhyme and have everybody say, "Oh, he didn't use a pen." Well, guess what? I'm old school. I still use, and you know what? It ain't got nothing to do with old school. That's just my way of being creative and writing. I like to get a pen, I like to get a pad, a paper, and write it down so that I can see exactly what I'm writing and like I said, even proofread it, you know? So that's what I'm doing to try to change it for the culture and move the needle in that direction. So I don't want to do everything that everybody else is doing. I want to like give you the reason on how you come out of it and mentally, like how do you get better? That's funny. You said mental awareness and mental health. That's exactly what this album is. It's therapeutic. And then I titled it "You're Not the Brightest," with the cover showing a classroom with light bulbs on the head because everybody in the classroom at once, we all came through that, but that was our innocence. So just all the way down to just my cover art, I'm trying to show you how change the narrative on just the way of thinking. And if you look closely, I know I'm rambling, but if you look closely to that album cover, the brightest one is in the back. So if you look at that cover again, the brightest one is sitting in the back. So yeah, man, that's what I'm doing to try to change the narrative on the culture, hip hop, state of being where I come from, and what I'm doing.
Shout out how you took my interview way forward in one question. You know what I'm saying? And that's dope.
Hey, you asked.
Hey man, hey, I know. Shout out to Men of Valor. They say they remember you from King University.
Whoa,
Yeah.
yeah.
Shout out to
Shout
Shy.
out the Keys. Feast
Yeah,
the
man.
shot.
Hey
Word.
man. We asking questions, and one thing that you did was you put up a very interesting topic. So, ladies and gentlemen, on this portion of the Heritage Hip Hop Podcast, we're gonna go to a segment called "Let's Build," where the artist or the guest says something so profound that we have to stay with what they said and build on that to move the conversation forward. And one thing you said about was proofreading and really looking into words. Look at what hip hop is today, where people now have litigation going on when it comes
Mm,
to how rhymes can be used to convict someone and rhymes can be used to determine your career. How do you
hmm
feel about that?
Um, at some point, and that's funny. I got you on this one because I think about this all the time. At some point, there's a part of me that feel like you shouldn't be responsible to some extent
Right.
because it ain't no different than movie actors. Like it ain't no different than that. Why when we rhyme on paper or when we say it or so, you gotta hold us to the fire for it. But as I've gotten older, it's changed. And I don't know if you want to call that maturity or whatever. And that's why I say to some extent. So if I'm on a record, let me give you an example. So if I'm on a record, I'm cruising up the street in my drop top with the rims blasting, me and my dudes laughing. That drop top could be a hoopty, but long as it's a drop top. You don't know. So it might be exaggerating upon what you say. However, it's not as when I say to some extent, then when you go in as far as saying like I'll spin the block, kill your op, you smack I don't know, you do something X, Y, and Z, you shoot my man, I'm gonna shoot your family with your kids in a car. Now, that's when I say that's some extent where you gotta have some kind of like what's the word? You gotta have some kind of responsibility that you hold because this is the part that no one talks about. We always talk about the words and the song and this and that. There's something called the higher power that's bigger than all of us humans, and you got to be careful. Back to what I said before with what you're saying. So at some extent, if you on a record saying you killing this and you killing that, and your name is Murder 345, guess what? That's what you proclaimed on yourself. So at some point, words and what you're saying and what you're claiming, like it just plays a part. I remember when Biggie said, "When I die, I want to go to hell, because I'm a piece of it ain't hard to tell. Gotta have me on some goodie." When I heard them lyrics, and I'm a Biggie fan, soon as I heard them lyrics, I said, "Oh my!" I held my head. Now I ain't saying cover your mouth on everything you say, but what I'm saying is watch what you say. So I think to some extent we're rappers. You gonna exaggerate. Everything is turned up. The knob is exaggerated, but at some point you gotta take some kind. There's been mad, and that's why I proofread too, because there's been mad times I write something down and I won't say it. I'll just erase it just because of what I just said. I just don't even want to put it in the universe like that. So I think we should take extent at some extent to using it. And as far as how I feel about them using it against us, once again, I think it goes on a certain extent. If he's just talking about his friends and this and this and that, where's your proof? You can't just take what somebody's saying, slander their whole name and deteriorate their whole family, snatch their endorsement. Where's the proof? Like what? We artists. You don't go to a painting and just shred it apart just because there's a naked lady on it. You look at it and say, "Oh, that's a nice piece of art." When you go to the Met Gala, so you say, "Oh, well, you ain't challenging what made him take a picture of a naked lady. You won't even think about it." So,
That's very interesting because even today we have the Kendrick, Drake, and now the Clips issue with UMG. Are you aware of that?
hmm
Okay, if y'all don't know, y'all can check out the blog at heritagehiphop.com where I talk about the Clips. May have started a new era in hip hop,
I
but
see that.
UMG wanted them to take an artist off of an album due to a defamation of character lawsuit brought by another artist under the umbrella with the same artist. And now we're getting to a point where now labels are trying to pull artists from albums because it has to do with legalities. So words, and now the people who say certain words are now under attack, not only because you might have something that's pro-social, pro-black or whatever. Now, only because you could be a street person and be talking about something that's wild, crazy that happens in the street,
Right.
but now your words are being attacked due to artist integrity and what you're trying to create, not what is being created. How do you feel about that?
Man, when you trying to create something and trying to like, once again, labels have now took that and ran with it. Because let me give you an example. If Kanye or I don't know, just some big name artist or whatever get an endorsement, that's now a way for them to pull the money and stop them from paying you. So it'll go back to the money thing, and that's the part that pissed me off. It's like that fine line between truth versus everybody just want, and that's why I just now said they don't tear down that artwork when you see a naked lady on there from an artist. That's why I said tear it down, because that's exactly what UMG and all of them are doing to an artist to create a narrative and paint this picture. Everyone tears them down. And then you see the kids walking into the courtroom like, oh man, but guess what? This been going on since the beginning of time. But the only hold on, the only difference is we've been making more money since the beginning of time. So now more money is coming into play. You're talking $1 billion industry, millions of dollars. So you know what? I think this one saying this to that. I'm afraid that if he comes to my venue, this X, Y, and Z gonna happen. So let's just pull his endorsements and stop it all. Or better yet, they don't even say that. They say let's just stop him from doing a walkthrough through the club. And then the endorsement giants jump in and say, oh, they don't want him there? Snatch his commercial off. And what you do, you take money out of his pocket, you take money out from his kids and so forth. So yeah.
So the new era of hip hop is not only protecting your brand, it's protecting your artist integrity to create a career and make a living. That's real deep, ladies and gentlemen. Tell me what y'all think about this interview so far. Shout out to my man Shot, who act like I don't know he's the one who's talking to us in the comments. He said, ask you about rap beats poetry.
Rap beats poetry?
Yeah.
What
Is that
about
something
it?
you did at King? Rap beats poetry?
Oh man, he talking about the Jaws, the segments they used to have there. Oh, of course, man. The rap beats poetry, man. Yeah, them the joints they used to have there. Where you go there, freestyle, and all the cats. Man, it was crazy because a lot of my friends from Elizabeth, they didn't even go to school. So I was in college with cats that I had just met and all that. So it was dope rhyming and freestyling and having poetry slams and things like that with meeting people. So I wouldn't go there just to rhyme. I go there to meet people too. Yeah.
Yeah, open mic said King. Hey, check this out. You know what's dope? I want to leave this part of the interview off with this right here. It says, words are the contradictions of the spirit. Because as one man lives, his spirit can reveal his lie. How does that feel to you as a rapper where we give a lot of fantasy that can inspire, but people hold that fantasy up as a lie and try to make a truth out of another person's lie to make their lives what it is? How do you feel about that?
Say that one more time.
Let's clean it up because maybe I was a little convoluted. We got to a point where in the world today, the word is used against you, correct?
Right.
And we got to a point where it was written at one time how the words will reveal the truth about a society. But in art, we use words to create a reality. And in reality, those words can be a lie that becomes somebody else's truth. How do you feel about that?
I'm so authentic, man. Like I try to be so authentic that I look at it like when you paint a lie, you lying to yourself. So for me, in my opinion, like it's great to sell a record and lie, and that is somebody else's reality because I mean, if you tell a lie 9 times out of 10, somebody it may be true for somebody else. But it all go back to the individual himself who's writing or the individual that's actually doing the writing as the artist. Let's take me, for example. I'll use me since you asked me. Like, I could sit here all day and yo, I count up millions. I got ice on my chain. I got this. I got that. I got 3 Bentleys outside waiting for me to ride. You know, so yeah, that's somebody else's reality. And guess what? Like it may sell records and they like it. But when I look in the mirror and I go to sleep at night, I don't got that. so so it makes me feel incomplete to not be that. So how I feel about it, um, I think it'll be great temporarily. I think it's a temporary thing. You know what I'm saying? It's only like Jay-Z said, it's only so long fake thugs could pretend. Like how long can you do this if it ain't true? And then how long will it take where somebody else stand up and say, hey, you know what? I grew up with that guy. He never did that. And even if you say, hey, well, I know I ain't do it. It's art. Now you got fans who took your word on it now saying, oh, he's a fake. And now you lose fans. So for me personally, that's why I always feel like just being 1,000 and say what you feel. Like say the truth. Tell your story. That's it.
And it's sad that the lie has morphed into what we call entertainment.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, everyone, we had rappers who were still selling crack, talk about how they lived in mansions. And what they did was manifest the mansion.
That's
so
what
we can't
yep.
get mad at them for that.
Right.
But you get mad at them for saying, well, you rhymed about something that wasn't real. When they're living, trying to get into an industry that's not even loyal, but they beg for your loyalty when you record. Think about that as we go to commercial break. So
no doubt.
Hold on. We'll be right back. And most importantly, I hope you like this interview because we're going to come back talking about the album next. Hold on.
Doubt.
Where you get your hip hop from?
Yeah. What's up? This Tribal Trigger Trench in the building. You already know. Nip, naughty.
Hey, Redman is in the building, of course. Jersey's finest, all about them bars, marijuana smoker. Hey, PSA announcement. I need everybody go support. That's right, support my fucking state, my city. Heritage Hip Hop, a New Jersey media source that celebrates New Jersey hip hop worldwide. Facts. Please subscribe to Heritage Hip Hop on social media. That is Heritage Hip Hop on social media.
What up, y'all, man? It's your boy Do It All, Do Pray Kelly, right here on Heritage Hip Hop, man. Look, man, let me tell you something. Make sure you support Heritage Hip Hop, because without these brothers bringing you hip hop, we're not gonna stay informed, man, the way that we need to stay informed, man. And they're not just giving you hip hop, man. They're giving you the heritage of hip hop right here, man. Yo, Karab, I see you. Heritage Hip Hop, man. Let's do it.
It ain't nothing like Heritage Hip Hop.
Once again, I jam to my own shit. I don't really care about how y'all feel. I like how we do our thing. So welcome back to the Heritage Hip Hop Podcast. We with my man Kice, of course, and let's talk about the music, because we got a little understanding of who you are, how you think, and how you come up with your art, right? Tell me about J. Scott the Illest and why his production stands out to you when you created this project, You're Not the Brightest.
J. Scott production, you just don't know what you're gonna get. Like if he sends you a zip file, it's just, I mean, you just don't know what you're gonna get. Some artists, I mean, some producers you'll listen to and you kind of predict like, all right, I know all his beats gonna sound like this. With J. Scott, man, you'll get one beat, it'll sound like an orchestra sample. You'll get another one, it'll sound like you at a train station. So his beats, and then they hip hop. They boom bap, and they just, like I said, they just so versatile. You can't just, it's not a one trick pony type of producer. So yeah, shout out to J. Scott.
I like the fact that with this project, the central theme about this project was learning. It was not about just do this all day, because even Master Killer said the deaf and the dumb are intrigued by the drum. This one was really about sitting down and looking at the course of reality through the lyrics.
Yes, sir.
That's why I like the fact that school was the central theme. That was Ferris Bueller's Day Off with attendance.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So I see how you even used the person who wasn't present to make the mind present for the message.
Yeah.
Talk about how you came together with the idea to formulate this thematic album.
The whole album, or just that piece of
Nah, the whole album,
the
because this whole
class?
album is art. This is not
Man,
just music. This is art that you made.
man. First of all, this whole album is therapeutic. This album was made to be therapeutic, and this the first project. I've done tons of projects. This the first one where I didn't care about. That's funny. That's what we were just talking about. I didn't care about pleasing the listener. To be honest with you, I just wanted to do something for me and pull within my inner. So that's why it was therapeutic for me. And throughout the whole project, I wanted to just take everybody on a learning course of what humans can mentally be going through, but we just don't hear it all the time. So yeah, and that's why I did the cover like that. You're not the brightest, and then talking about the topics of all them topics that I had with them songs because yeah, man, I wanted to pull out a piece of learning information to help us be better at life, help us grow. But it started out personal. It was me. I was vulnerable. I gave everything that I felt like I wanted to hear and therapeutic for me. And then after it was said and done, I went back and listened to it. I said, wait a minute, this is like a therapy session for it could be for anybody. Anybody, because everybody has emotions where you feel some days you down, you feel some days you overthinking, you feel some days you need to fight your fears. So there you have it. So I just wanted to make a masterpiece, and then with Jay Scott on the production, I mean, hey, with my lyrics joining forces, we pull those emotions out, and there's the end result.
I have another show on Heritage Hip Hop called Off the Record, where I go through the entire project song by song, and we really dive into the creation.
Okay.
I would love to do that with this project because on the podcast, I don't really do that too much. I want people to know who you are and then check you out because this is not your only project. I listen
No,
to
sir.
Kice, of course, of things, and shout out to the infantry. Samuel Steady Rock is my dude, yo.
Peace,
You know what I'm
steady
saying?
rock.
Because I actually, you know, I interviewed him a while ago. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And I like to celebrate our people and our culture. And this album, I think, needs to be looked at a little more in depth than what this podcast will give. Because this is
Word.
more about you. And I could only highlight certain songs that really stood out to me as a listener, a fan, and a person who appreciates the art, right? So Remembering Home, we already talked about a lot of that already in this interview, right? But the one thing that I loved about that song is,
Mhm.
remember how we talked about mental health?
Yes, sir.
A man's journey starts from his mind out, not from life in. And you brought people into your mind, but you're giving the world your understanding and the direction of the album. Why was that the most important thing to put, song to put first on the project?
That was the most important to put first on the project because that's where I get my energy from. Home. That was where I get the most energy from. And like that's great that you pointed that out because that's what I strategically did on purpose. I started it out like that because that's the most where I would get the energy from. Everybody got energy and things that they remember about home. So that's why I wanted to start it there. It had to be there because that charged my battery.
People always refer to Nas when they say sleep is the cousin of death, right?
Mhm.
But the hook and voices in my head, what you talked about earlier. See, you're saying just things 3 cycles when you do good music. As long as you make good music, we have a conversation on Heritage Hip Hop, y'all.
No doubt.
So even with voices in my head, it brings me back to something my teacher taught me, my teachers have taught me. They say everything looks different with a new set of eyes. Life is a school. And lastly, life is a classroom without walls. It's when you live, you experience, you feel, that's when the art begins to pour from your being, not you creating for the sake of creating. Do you agree?
Yes.
So what made this album personal? The pain of experience or the joy of experience?
Pain.
How so?
because when I put out so many projects that I I'm I'm older now, so I don't have that energy to like beg somebody and like chase after people to like do this, do that. I got fans. And hey, you know what? If you like it, you like it. If not, then fine. But it was pain because I didn't feel like doing it. I didn't feel like doing it. I was like, you know what? I'll just do it. It started out like that. So that was pain because I knew I never felt like that before. And I knew the reason why. I was exhausted. I was tired of, I've had projects where I did 6, 7 songs, and then the person who introduced me to that producer get into it. I don't have nothing to do with it. But now that producer say, you know what? I don't mess with him no more. And now I'm just stuck in the middle, like, well, do you still want to do the project? And they're like, yo, your songs are dope, but he don't mess with that. And now I'm in the middle because that's my friend. But then so that whole album get, and I don't like I don't like to go redo songs over because it take away the spontaneity. So it's like I didn't want to go through all of that. I've been in situations where you go to the studio and I don't know, everybody doing one thing and your mind focused on let's get this job done, and everybody's like chilling, like we made it already or something. So I'm older now. I'd rather just deal with me. And that's another great thing that was about Jay Scott that helped with the project. I finally met, somebody along with a few other people, but that was one of the ones where, yo, Kice, this the date your session. Here's the track. This afternoon you'll get a zip file with some more beats, and boom, I'll get it. So he was on point with that. And yeah, man. So it was pain because I didn't want to. At first, when it started out, I didn't feel like doing it. I was just exhausted with just the weight of proving myself. And then it turned out to actually be a gift and a curse because what you got to prove? Just give us you. So yeah, it's definitely pain.
What's honest about you? I gotta ask you a question and give you something I think, and you can tell me if I'm
Talk
right
to
or
me.
wrong.
What?
You are more of a lyricist lounge type rapper to me. You remind me of the lyricist lounge show with punching words and Rod Digger and all of them.
I
Like
remember them shows. I
that's the
remember them
era I
shows.
get from you. So I want to ask you, are you a big Styles P fan?
Absolutely.
You have Styles P vibes on this project.
Gangsta and the Gentleman. I love that record. I was just listening to that the other day. Yep.
One of
That's
the
a compliment.
songs, yeah, I'm glad you take it that way because that's how I meant it. One of the songs, my favorite song on the project is Life. And that song reminded me of a lot of things that P would do. Like my favorite Styles P song is Coolest OG. Cause you hear him in his pocket. He rotting. And then you got Dude Dice Peso singing, but Styles is talking. And it's like, yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And with Life, it's like Life for me took me back to the time where I read the autobiography of Malcolm X for the first time.
Wow.
It was like somebody gave you the story, but the story hit home and it made you reflect. Is that the most powerful piece of work you put together for this project, at least, or in your life?
Absolutely.
Let's talk about that song because
Absolutely.
I think that's one of the highlights of your career thus far. And
Uh-huh.
I've only listened to a little bit, but from what I've been exposed to, the song Life is like one of those songs I would put on the soundtrack of my life. Period. So talk to me about that one.
So that first of all, you on point. You're on point because that record is like that out of all the songs I've done, that holds a big piece to me personal because once again, back to the pain. The last verse of that song is about me. Um, I was driving on the interstate and this guy cut me off and sandwiched me in between two 18 wheelers. And I got so mad because he tried to push me off on the road, and I had the gun in between two 18-wheelers. And then he rolled his window down and reached under his seat like he was gonna pull a gun out, and he was like, "I ain't about to play with you." And I was like, "What?" And it made me more angry. I guess he thought I was gonna pull off and be scared, but it just made me more angry. And I was like, "What?" So I was prepared. Soon as I saw the gun, I was gonna turn my car and flip his car off the road. That's how angry I was. And he just looked at me and just took off. It was just crazy. I've never, and it sounds real like a corny little simple story, but I ain't been that mad in a long. I don't know if I ain't been that mad in a long time. I wanted to really take him off the planet because here you is running me off the road, and then you're gonna threaten my life. So I put it in a song, and then I thought about it. I don't never really hear nobody rap about road rage. So that last verse was about me. Only I painted the picture as if I would have reacted or did something extra, and how life, you just can't, you don't know what happens when you leave out that door. And that's why that last verse is about me. If situation would have been different in life, he could have killed me, because that's what he said. I ain't about to play with you. And he leaned over the seat like he was about to pull out a gun. So that's funny you say that, but I was so angry that I was angry for like a week. I even looked for him, to be honest with you. Like, I was so angry, but he pulled off so fast, I couldn't find him. Well, anyway, so that's funny how you picked that song, and I added that last verse to cope with my anger. So yeah, man. Once again, that whole album is therapeutic, and that's pain. But that's funny you picked that song, and out of all the songs, that last verse on that last song is about me. You know, with that. So yeah, that's dope how you picked that. And so that is one song that's different from any other song I've ever done.
It's impactful because, man, let me tell you something, yo. Everybody has a different upbringing. I'm gonna tell you a funny story about anger, and I'm gonna tell you a funny story about redemption.
Please do.
Do you know how Red Fox died, the comedian?
No, I don't.
Basically, he had a show with Della Reese, another famous comedian,
Mhm.
and the people on the show treated him so bad that they interrupted an interview he was doing for Entertainment Tonight to do a scene on a show where he didn't even have any words. All he had to do was just walk. He got so pissed off that he collapsed and died on the set.
Whoa.
His anger manifested his death because the world beat him down, or people in the world beat him down through disrespect. The wisest man in the world says to truly live, you have to fight your emotions. And the
Yes.
more you let them go, not suppress them, the more you let them go, the wiser you become in life. Hip hop has been the manifestation of anger being let go from our community to the world. And while other people dance to it, other people make it a fad or the flavor of the month, we have made the world valuable not only through our pain, but letting the pain go so other people can learn that pain is the process of learning how to live. I respect you on that song because life gave me the understanding that the girl getting choked,
Yeah.
the road rage, all that is deeper than what you feel. It's knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And then how do you process it for somebody else, not just yourself? Want to add to that?
I process it for myself just by being a writer and being an artist, and like I said, changing lives through music. So that's how I process it. But what's even deeper than that, processing it, is like, I that's why this album was so therapeutic, because I don't know how to process it. All I could run to was a pen and pad. Cause like I said, I even look for the guy. Like, so because I don't know how, that was my way of knowing how, and I did it by writing it down and telling the world about it. So that's how I process a lot of. I never was I never was good at, like, not that I wasn't good, but I never really was that interested in football, basketball. No, I like boxing. I like MMA. You know what I mean? Like, it ain't like I'm afraid to get hurt or something. It's just I just, but I like being creative, and that was always my way out. Like, so that's the way I process things. I process it with finding a creative niche way out of how you get up out of that situation. So when I did Never Say Goodbye, as soon as you hear the hook, the first thing you might be thinking, never say goodbye to what, a loved one? Nah, nah, nah. How about never saying goodbye to yourself? Because everybody go to a point where they just, even if even if you're not suicidal, everybody go through some times where they say, I wonder what it'd be like if I wasn't here. So that's what I wanted to do. And then I turn right around and say, no, I wonder what it'd be like if you was here. So that's how I process going through a dark time. You know what I mean? So yeah, I always put it right back to the creative space. That's how I process it.
This is not a morbid album, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to talk about another song. That was the deepest song to me, and I would love for y'all to listen to the project "You're Not the Brightest" by Kice of Course and J. Scott
No doubt.
Ellis, because this is really good. I mean, this may be
Hey,
one of the finalists for the Heritage Hip Hop Project of the Year. You never know,
hey,
but
thanks.
but but one thing I want to talk about is this album also doesn't just talk about processing and dealing with reality, run my fears away. The one song that I was like, what the hell is going on was Fresh Fit. Because you know what? That's one part of my life I never developed. Like
Mm,
when I was young, like when you look, well, I watched Pay the Full, and my man Mitch was telling dude how to keep his sneakers tight and all that and all that. My family didn't teach me none of that shit. So you wore what you wore and it was whatever. But as I got older and people really started teaching me the game and things, it was like, yo, you dress for the success that you want. And the Fresh Fit not only was a part of mental health, but showing the world that you're able to show up. So when I ask you something, hip hop isn't a person, but hip hop is another identity. What's the freshest fit that hip hop has shown you to make you the person that you are?
damn, that's a good one. Um, I say Big Daddy Kane, man, with the Nefertiti charm and that, like, track jogging suit, like MCM type jogging suit, and a dope kicks on with it, like the or cats, when cats had like ballies on, that whole look with the gazelle frames. And I say all that because the Nefertiti charm just when I saw it, I was just telling one of my peeps the other day, I want that charm. Like, it just represented black. As much as we like the Mercedes sign and all that, it was a Nefertiti. And then it was gold. This was before ice and all that. So when I saw that, and then of course the glasses and the frames, it just gave this hip hop look, because like they say, most people that came up writing in hip hop, we come from inner cities, right? And just like my hood, I'll use me as an example, Elizabeth. You was surrounded by drug dealers. You saw it. Whether you was doing it or not, I saw it. I saw the cars. I saw that. So that outfit on Big Daddy Kane represented what I saw. So once you see your hero wearing it, or somebody you could just walk up to and say, "Hey man, those some nice sneakers," and then you see the person wearing it on TV, you relate to it. Like, wait a minute, I want to be that fly too. So that I want that to represent me. And then I ain't even get into the lyrics. That was one of my favorite rappers. So not only does he dress this way, like the people that's around my hood that's getting it, he also rap like how I would want to rap. And he's also saying, children, children are the future. He was lyrical, but at the same time, he doing what it's funny. I'm thinking this as I'm saying it, like, Kane was the one that was like, like rough, rugged, and rules you can't stand still. Like he was just rapping like black stuff too, like to bring awareness. So yeah, that outfit with the awareness, with the gazelles, with the rope, with the kicks. I want to be like that. I want that to resemble what I'm doing. Absolutely.
That's fire. I'm gonna ask you a hip hop nerd question. Do you mind?
Run it.
Were you a fan of the movie Juice?
Yes.
You like the soundtrack?
I did, but I can't remember everything on it, but I remember liking it. Yeah.
Check this out. People always put Big Daddy Kane versus Rakim. Remember?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, check this out. Was Big Daddy Kane and Rakim kind of going at each other on Enough Respect Do and Know the Ledge? Not at each other personally, but song for song. What do you think?
Yeah.
That's a dope. That's a question though by people to ask.
That's
Like,
crazy.
But if you think about it, my man broke down.
They were
respect.
neck to neck.
He Rakim broke down respect.
Too.
I thought the kings and queens to get the shows for Brooklyn, Manhattan in the house ain't never been took in. Grow up, times with sounds will bring you down. And then you got Into the Dragon. When I started the back and attacking the back and rappers off the bandwagon, feel the fury of the renegade with men of slave. I mean, it was like there's styles in it, and the songs were fire.
They were going toe to toe.
And when you think about it, they're on the soundtrack. So was it like who else on that soundtrack? Oh word. I'm saying so.
Yeah, you don't even know. You don't even know who else on that.
And then that was an original song versus a remix. It makes you think not only how dope and flavorful hip hop is, but look what it makes conversations are. And albums like this one opens up conversations not only of mental health, but self-pride, perseverance, and give a hope to people who need to hear a person's story to know that they can relate and they can overcome it too.
Nice.
I want to salute you on that, and I want to give you time on our show called Stand on Your Square, where you give about like 60 seconds to tell everybody why you the shit and why they need this project. Ready? Go.
Hey, yo, listen, bro. You need You're Not the Brightest album ASAP. Download it. It's on all major platforms. Shout out to Jay Scott, produced by Jay Scott the Illest. The reason why is because it's therapeutic. If you tired of listening to stuff and that's just making you want to go haywire, if you're tired of hearing something that's the same run in the middle every time you listen to something that's just different that could possibly change your life. Another thing too, if you're in a car with your kids, you ain't got to keep bleeping every single word. It's probably like maybe 4 or 5 curses throughout the whole thing, but guess what? Even when they're said, it's in good vibe. So this is why. And then not only that, just the cover, you could take print out, go to Kinko's, print out the album cover and put it on your wall in your studio, in your lab, whatever. Because You're Not the Brightest cover is art itself, just the album cover. And not only that, you get in the artist that once again proofreads what he does. I'm not just putting out something just to put it out. I'm putting my hard-earned work and ability and mental space all in this project. This project has been thought out so much down to the sequence. So we sat for like days just to even see the melodies of the tracks to make sure the order is correct. That's just soothing to your ear in order to accept the messages. So and then the number of songs picked. We picked that amount of songs for the same reason. These days, I mean, it is what it is statistically. People attention span is shorter than ever. So we ain't want to do overkill, but we wanted to find a fine line with balance. And that's why you got an intro. That's why you got an interlude. You know what I'm saying? There's no outro, but we did everything we could to have a short, compact amount of songs, but at the same time give you a feel like as if it's a full like double length album with an intro and an interlude. So yeah, man, you gotta go cop You're Not the Brightest. And most of all, it's me. Independent, man. Doing this all me. Like what other reason, do you need? Like this ain't no big label budget, but guess what? The way that I'm moving and the way that people are supporting, you think I have 1 billion streams already, which I am gonna get. But Hey man, so that's the reason why you should cop it. And yeah, man, come open up your mind up, listen to some therapeutic music, and it's still hip hop. And I'm lyrical too. So yeah, and you get a world of different stuff on it too.
There y'all go. But I ask that you don't stream it. I ask that you buy it. Put your money where your
No
mouth is.
doubt.
Stream it to see if you like it. But if you like it, ask that you buy it because this is one of them projects. Gets my heritage hip hop stamp of approval. People know I don't like everything, but this is one of the ones that I really think y'all could really get
Appreciate
something
it.
from. Because I honestly, I'm gonna put this out there. I've been trying to put out a project for years. Not me rapping though,
Okay.
just to represent my platform. I would love you on it because
Mm,
the you on this album showed me more than a bunch of people who call themselves legends that make music.
wow.
And
Hey,
that's not a
that's
knock to
that's
nobody,
respect.
y'all. It's not a
Yeah,
knock. I'm not disrespecting anybody, but there's
that's
work put in
love.
on this project, and
Mm.
I like this project a hell of a lot,
Oh, I
for real,
appreciate that, man. That's
no
love.
doubt,
Appreciate
no doubt. So before we end this episode of the Heritage Hip Hop Project, would you like to play a game?
it. What you got up your sleeve, yo?
Well, this
That's
game
how I
is
start.
called
Yeah, let's play the game.
this game is called the Rapid Fire Questions, which are not yes no questions. These are questions designed to show the world who you are, how you
Okay.
understand yourself, the hip hop that you make, and the culture that you're in. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Here we go. Question number one. What song or project from another artist perfectly describes you?
OC album Word Life.
Oh, why do you pick that one?
Because he was lyrical and he gave standpoint on life. It's therapeutic, and uh, you could just listen to it, and he paint pictures of his personal stories without giving you the same shoot 'em up, bang bang. I did this and flamboyant. It was just his. He remember his Spanish friend who got killed by a car across the street. It was Tom's up. You know what I mean? Like it was. So it was a world of different stuff, and he called it Word Life.
I could see you with that project because if you think about him from Fudge Pudge
Yeah.
to then going to Born to Live,
Yes,
that's a
sir.
lot of growth.
Yeah,
That's one of
yeah.
my favorite albums too. Shout out to all
OC,
OC, yo.
man. Yeah.
The next question: what's the greatest hip hop beat ever created? Meaning, if that person never had it, it would have been your first single.
Um, DJ Premier probably. I want to say. Has so many. Uh, I would probably say DJ Premier's the one he did with Big Shug, Crush. I would say Crush. Yeah.
Okay.
Dun, 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 dun. Crush the MCs who claim they keep it real. The very hardcore make you hit the hard floor. Come on, man. That that Crush by Big Shug, produced by DJ Premier. I needed that beat, bro. I would have took. I need
Yes.
that track.
So why don't you do it? What's up?
Hey, that I could. I love.
Hey,
I mean, hey, I could definitely
hey.
let.
And we can send it to Premiere.
Yeah.
What's up?
Hey,
Hey,
let's get it. I can
let's
do
get
it.
it. Here's another question I wanted to ask you as part of the point of the interview, but it went somewhere totally different, and I love that. Oversaturation in hip hop has killed the independent voice. How do you stand out so people can find, hear you, and relate to you?
Well, basically, the authenticity always wins. And what I mean by that is because they might think they being authentic. What I mean by that is going back to just expressing and and talking about the things that most people won't touch on a topic of. For example, I did a show. This is a perfect example. I did a show. It was about four other artists on that lineup. And no disrespect to the artists, they were dope too. One talked about girls, one talked about getting high, the other one talked about something else. I don't even remember. And I saw that, and I said, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do this song called Nem, which is men backwards, and I'm gonna rhyme about why the world is how it is because of men messing up. And when I did that song and got off stage, a guy came up to me. He was crying. And he said, it's because of you. I'm going to leave here and call my son, who I haven't called in years. Because I never knew how important a man is and how much we've messed up women's lives. So that's what made me stand out for everybody else. I ain't got to tell you how. At that show, I showed that man how. I showed that fan how. How is because I deviate from what everyone else do. Like, and I don't mean that in no diss, because hey, I'll do songs about cars and all that stuff too. However, what to answer your question, I'm gonna always do things to separate myself from everybody else. Wanna know why? Because God didn't make us all the same. So if you stay true and tell us your story, eventually others may relate, but it's always going to come out different because my life is different from yours and vice versa. So I'm gonna stand out. That's how I stand out, is just by just doing something, speaking from a vulnerable place and doing something that the average person. I got a song called Fish because when I heard the beat, all I could think about is the ocean. So I made the song as if I was a fish. If the fish could talk underwater, what would it say? That's what I'm talking about. So that's how I stand out. So yeah.
That's deep because I know for a fact that's on Kice, of course. You talked about them swordfish and them sharks and everything, and yes, that song is kind of hot. Yo. I can't even lie to y'all.
But
I need to check out his catalog. He got some good stuff. You know what I'm saying? Here's my next question when it comes to this. I always say Brooklyn represented hip hop the way it's supposed to have been represented because they took their borough around the world with a hit song. If you can make a hit song representing Elizabeth, what MCs from Elizabeth are you taking and who's producing the track?
mm, I'm bringing Shorty Fresh. I'm bringing Money Mount. Shout out to Money Mount. Chocolat, Steady Rock, and produce. Do the producer gotta be from Elizabeth or just it? Oh, you saying any producer? Wow, I would probably get Alchemist. Probably get out. You know what? No,
Alchemist?
scratch that. Scratch that. I would probably get Pete Rock to do a joint like that. Yeah, because Alchemist would be a little more street. I would get Pete Rock to do it so he can add a little soul to it.
Okay, that's fire. That's
Yeah.
fire. Throwaway question. How'd you like being on the Heritage Hip Hop podcast and would you recommend
M-
this to anybody else?
Man, I love being on it, and I'm not just saying it. I'm actually on a press run, so this is the perfect time to ask me because I've been doing nothing but podcast shows in the last 2 weeks. So I really, really like this show, and it's funny because every time I do podcast, after the next day or whatever, when the questions marinate, I go back and say, "Damn, why did I say I should have worded this different, or whatever?" But you actually didn't make this boring. Like you made this like intriguing, and you could tell you did your homework too. You know what I'm saying? Like so yeah, would I refer this to someone else? Absolutely. Like 100%, 100% because you give a chance for the you give a chance for the artist to answer and then you don't cut them off. And then like sometimes interviewers, podcasters don't know really what to say, and when it's a dead air space, they make a joke out of not knowing what to say. So that helps. A lot of stuff help, man. But this is my first time on the show. I love it, but you give a chance for a artist to answer, but then on top of that, you take it back to the core of what you trying to diverge out. Like you stick to the topic of what you trying to like say. You know what I'm saying? Then you make an artist think, So I would recommend this too, man. Like this ain't, hey, what got you started? Where you from? Who's your favorite? Like you more like listen. So if if you made it out your hood and you know what I mean, what makes you so special? Like you make an artist think. So and that's me, man. I can answer questions all day, man, because that's what I love about interviews, because you could tell that's an interview, and then it lets you into the world when viewers are watching. You ask questions to where if a new viewer watches, they learn more about me personally versus just how many songs or how many catalogs I got. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I take
shout
pride
out to you.
in. Thank you. I take pride in doing this because this comes from my heart, and it's not about me. It's about our culture, and people have been trying to destroy our culture for years. And now that we have
Word.
a president and we have a society that's destroying books, destroying records, that it's sad that we learn more about ourselves from the internet than we do in schools. The people who make good music, especially music with messages, I try to uphold them so that they're not lost. And that's why
Okay.
I believe personally, shout out to Leather Flower with the hearts. I believe personally that we need to. All right, I'll put it a different way. I'm gonna talk to the podcasters. Y'all piss me off because y'all suck. Y'all corny. And the reason why
Oh,
I
you
say that,
keeping it real.
because I'm gonna be
Why you
honest. Because
say
the
that?
reason why, because everybody talks about how bad something is, but they'll bring new artists to the for the table so people can know what's good out there. So everybody dick rides. I don't care if you bleep me out. I hope
All
YouTube
right.
don't strike it. But everybody be like, I got this person on. I got this person on. I got this person on. But who's putting on the next person or somebody you could listen to that's an alternative to the bad music that's out there that's being pushed? I believe your project, You're Not the Brightest, is one of those projects people should hear because it's going to affect them in a positive way and give them
Awesome.
something to ride to.
Thank you, man.
I got
That's
a I got
love.
a I got a grandson. His favorite song right now is "Can I Kick It" by Tribe Called Quest. Listen,
Yeah.
that's how we got to start them and then lead them to know there
Yeah.
is there
Yeah.
is that.
Yep.
You get to
Yep.
choose as you grow up what you want to hear, but at least we gave them a foundation. And I think this project is a foundational project that can
Thank you.
direct the course of your career and how people view you, and it can make your trajectory higher in hip hop by what you said, and not only what you said, but
That's
how you
love.
push it and what you do after it.
I
I was
appreciate that
I was
100%.
blessed. Oh no doubt, I was blessed to say that to Nick Grant. You know Nick Grant. I was blessed to interview him and
Sound
talk to
familiar?
him. He's down south. He's a great lyricist. And
Okay.
he has a newer project that came out. And I said the same thing to him. Like, everybody needs their Illmatic moment. This might be yours. I don't
That's a
know yet
compliment.
because you still have stuff to go on. And while
Yeah.
people always make Illmatic the standard, Nas grew with Stillmatic. Life is Good is phenomenal. And nobody talks about
Yeah.
that like it's like,
Yeah.
because he
Yeah.
deals with marriage and all that. Here you're dealing with
That's one of my
pain.
favorite albums too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
talk about like we're dealing with pain, you're dealing with life, you're dealing with consequences, you're dealing with self-improvement, self-realization, and also spirituality. So instead of an album
There you
where I
go.
fuck this amount of chicks or I got this amount of cars or I'll beat your ass, you really put the MC and the listener in front of a mirror, like, who are you and who am I? This is life. Where do you stand? The first way to win is to show up. Are you here? I fuck with you for that. Like, this project really
Appreciate
did
it.
that for me.
That's love.
No
Word.
doubt. So I got two more questions, and then we're gonna fade out on this one.
All right.
My first question is: this is your baby. How are you presenting your baby to the world? How are you giving your baby a lifetime to be appreciated, not just lost in a bunch of releases?
I present it to the world by saying it's therapeutic because the way of the world right now with pressure, with politics, with lies, with beating down the black man, with all of that stuff, we all could use some therapy right now. Everybody, kids are getting beat. It's just so much going on. So I will present it in a nice velvet like box, and then just open it up, and then as you open it, it just shines and sit in the middle of the ground floor of a mountain and tell everybody gather around. And once you grab the album and listen to it, it'll make your life a little better, and you'll feel a little bit more at peace, knowing that you're not the only one going through it, And how I would present it for the long haul, for the world forever, is by making a book about it. And that book remains on a shelf for legacies and children for when I'm dead and gone, where a kid could be in class, not knowing his next move, because all he want to do is be creative with a pen and pad, and he sees that light bulb on the cover, it attracts him, and he pulls it out, and it says, "You're not the brightest" on the top. That's how I keep it going forever, because now it inspired him, and now he passed that book down, and that book just don't collect dust. It get passed on for generation after generation.
That's dope. That's legacy right there. And that perfectly segues me into the final question. Before I get there, I'd like to thank everybody watching the Heritage Hip Hop podcast. Make sure you follow Heritage Hip Hop on all streaming media, which means everywhere your
Heritage Hip
phone
Hop,
is, that's where we are.
no
Heritage Hip
doubt.
Hop, all right? Matter of fact, I messed that up because I had the rapid fire questions up there. There you go. On Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, all that. Wherever you stream, I'm there. And wherever you are, social media, I'm there
Dope
as
show.
well.
Peace to Heritage.
Thank you. Give me your social media before I ask the final question, please.
At Kice of Course, make sure y'all check me. That's at Kice of Course, Kice of Course, Course. At Kice of Course on Instagram. I'm on Facebook too. At Facebook, you can do my music page, Kice of Course, but I'm usually always on Instagram, IG, man. Kice of Course.
Before we ask that question, what does your name mean?
What does Kice of Course mean?
Yes.
So what's crazy about it? Everybody asks me that. It really has no meaning. It's just that when I first started writing as 16 years old, it was a group of us in high school or grammar school, whatever, and we was writing, and we wanted to. One of the cats it was like six of us from my hood, and he was like, "Yo, come up with a name with nice, cause you ain't got no name." And I was like, "Kice," cause my government begins with a K, and he just started saying Kice. And next thing you know, by lunchtime, everybody was calling me Kice, so I liked it. Years later, I did a show, and they was like, "Yo, is Kice here? Is he ready to go on?" And somebody in the background was like, "Of course, Kice, of course he is." And I just liked how it sounded, so I just started saying Kice, of course, and that's how the name came about. So the first piece was when I was young. The of course came later on during the show. And over the time, I tried to make a name out of it, like use acronyms, chaos. But I said, you know what? Let me leave it alone. It's just Kice, of course.
You know what's dope? I wanted to give you a jewel before you left because it was very important that I always try to give people jewels as we talk because
Okay.
I want our conversation to be valuable and not just a passing moment. That's why my interviews are so deep. You know what I'm saying?
They are. Yeah, that's dope.
Check this out. Do you know the significance of the term "of course"?
No.
Because the first part is your name. The last part of your name is a statement.
Oh, yeah. Right. Like, of course, this guy. Yeah.
So when you say "of course," what does it mean?
Like, who else would it be? No other than Kice. Of course, is me.
But did you know that means that Kice is obvious? Kice is well known. Kice is not a surprise. He's the norm. It also means it's the obvious or the expected. It also means permission. That Kice was given permission to rhyme. Kice was given permission to state the facts. Kice was given the permission to choose the message. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
I got
I
one
knew
more
it.
for you.
Okay.
No, go ahead. I want to cut you off.
No, I didn't know that, but that's dope because that ties into what I was saying earlier. When you just being authentic, and that's why I said in my round, it's hard to know who you are when you are who you are. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just being me. I'm just going off what intuition tells me. I'm just going off spirit. So thank you for sharing that. But when you that authentic and true to yourself, it brings those things about. So yeah.
So here's the last part I wanted to bring to you, okay? Of course means of consequence, of natural order, or of a way of life. It means it's logical, but by consequence. So yeah, I can see it because that's what life brought to you. It's also a manner of living. Of course means behaving and living off a principle. Of course also means journey. So if you're talking about life, life is taken by steps. What are the lines they write the musical notes on? Steps. Think about it. And the last one is being faithful despite challenges. Of course means staying the course. So it means being 10 toes and being true to yourself. So salute to you because your name defines you. So I wanted to
Thank
give you
you.
that before you left. All right.
Appreciate that. That's 1,000 right there. Yo, man.
Right?
What you trying to top all the interview? You trying to make me
Hell
not
yeah.
be able to go on
Hell
another
yeah.
podcast? What you
Yes.
trying to do, man?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I'm gonna
Yes.
go in other interviews like, man, this is boring. Let's wrap this up. I gotta go. Go
Yeah.
back to heritage,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. I want to be the Ralph McDaniels of New Jersey. You damn right.
Bruh,
Yes.
man.
I'm trying to shut this down. Yes. But shout out to all the other podcasters out there
No
because we all
doubt.
do the
Shout
job.
out to him.
We're
No
the
doubt.
we're the new media. We're the fifth wall of media. So yeah, no doubt. But yes, I'm trying to be the best out here. Yeah.
Damn, me too.
So here's the final question of the interview. Thank you for coming on. And it is this. 500 years from now, when they go to the New Jersey, if not the Hip Hop Hall of Fame, and they go to Elizabeth and Eastwick, got a big old thing in there, and they have Kice of Course's name, and they push the red button, and the AI comes on, and your hologram comes out the wall, and people get to hear your story and listen to your music. You're inspiring people 500 years from now. The final question of this first interview is, how did you make the world better? Because you produced hip hop, lived hip hop, and did hip hop.
One brother, one sister. I was the youngest child. Big visions in my brain. I had to get them out. Knew it was something, so I had to get control. Gotta be bigger than crowd control. I got issues inside that haven't been resolved. But when you connect me with my words, they start to dissolve. I got issues in my family. We gotta sort out. Lost a lot of loved ones. The tears never came out. Had a pot to piss in, but the pot wasn't big enough. Every time you take a leak, sometimes it'll drip on us. Some say I don't listen. Some say I'm artistic. Timid museum, y'all all could visit. I rhyme. Humble and cocky like Andrew Dice Clay. Minus the cigarette, but add the wordplay. I come from a good in-ground, bad background. I'm not just a rapper. I bring a whole new sound. So that's what it'll write out.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you want good hip hop, check out Kice of Course, and just realize hip hop is not only what you listen to, is what you say, what you do, how you represent, and what you live. You agree?
Word.
Of
Yes, sir.
course.
Of course.
So with that being said, thank you for watching. May the Most High bless you.
No doubt.
Peace. And we out.